Well, my first response, Molly, Skip, is that I'm incredibly happy that this happened on a Friday after First Take, because I will openly confess to you that had I had to come on the air that next day, after reading somebody questioning my credibility and my character, I can promise you it would have been very bad. But I will say this lastly. You don't want to make an enemy out of me. And I'm looking right into the camera, and I'm going to say it again. You do not want to make an enemy out of me. I'm not having it. I've done nothing wrong, and I'm not going to tolerate it.
Let me stop.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex, the best sports capper on YouTube. And if you want to check out some of my picks so you can win some money on these apps, they're always in the shorts feed. I repeat, they're in the shorts feed. But that's not what we're here to talk about right now. Right now, we're here to talk about LeBron James pulling up on and G-checking Stephen A. Smith. And one of the first videos I made is about how sports media is starting to mess up sports, right? And I want to make more videos about that, right? Because there's layers to that, and I want to get into it further. But one of the ways sports media is messing up sports is that they get too personal, right? They get way too personal. And I've been saying for a while, like a podcast I used to do before I started this one, I've been saying for a while that if sportscasters continue to keep getting too personal with these athletes, that they were going to get someone beat up. I've been saying this for a while now. Right? So seeing LeBron James run up on Stephen A is just like a manifestation of what I've been telling you guys was going to happen. All right? That's all it was to me. All right? LeBron James was about 2 seconds from knocking Stephen A out. And I told you guys this was what's going to happen because the problem with sportscasters now is they almost act as if they're celebrities and they act as if they're on par with or above the athletes. You can never be on par with or above someone you make a living talking about. That doesn't even make sense. Like it's just stupid. But because they've started TMZing and gossip blogging and the shade room in sports now and talking about people's girlfriends and, family drug histories and the run-ins they may or may not have had with the cops and just a bunch of stuff that doesn't have anything to do with sports, they've opened themselves up to get knocked out and ran up on. All right. Now, I started this video with the Stephen A's response to Kevin Durant, right? And this is from some years ago, but I never forgot this. And Stephen A, all Kevin Durant said was, look, I don't talk to Stephen A. My family doesn't talk to Stephen A. My friends don't talk to Stephen A. And my agent doesn't talk to Stephen A. So anything he's saying about me is a lie because he doesn't know what I'm going to do. That's not that big of a deal. Stephen A decides to take that as a shot at his credibility and start off the First Take show talking for literally 15 minutes about what Kevin Durant said in 20 seconds. All right, that's how hurt his ego was by what Kevin Durant said. Then he accumulated it in what I started this video off with, where he literally threatened Kevin Durant with you don't want to make an enemy out of me. Put the camera on me because I want to say this twice because I want him to know that I'm serious. You don't want to make an enemy out of me, Kevin Durant. Like, are you serious, Stephen A? Why does Kevin Durant not want to make an enemy out of you? What are you going to do? Cry for 15 minutes again? Like, what are you going to do? You're talking like you're some type of mob boss. You're talking like you're a Crip or a Blood, like you were a super thug. What? Like, what are you going to do to Kevin Durant? But see, stuff like that is why, even though I don't think LeBron was justified in his reason for running up on Stephen A. Smith, I'm happy he did it, and I hope it happens more because these sports reporters are way out of pocket. Like, they're way out of pocket. My man's talking like he's the Don, like this is the Godfather or something. You don't want to make an enemy out of me. Why not? Well, guess what? LeBron James made an enemy out of you, and you didn't have the same energy. You went on First Take and cried for 15 minutes and apologized. Then you went on your own show and cried and apologized. Why didn't you threaten LeBron James? Is it because he's not as skinny as Kevin Durant is, or what is it? Because LeBron James has power and can get you blackballed? What is it? I don't understand. My thing is, first of all, you shouldn't have been threatening anyone. But if you were going to threaten Kevin Durant, and we have video evidence that you have done this, then you should have had the same energy for LeBron James. And the fact that you didn't just makes you lose even more credibility. And you have very little credibility left at this point. Screaming A. Smith is basically a caricature of his own self. All right. Now, the reason I'm saying I don't really think LeBron James needed to pull up on Stephen A. over the issue is because he didn't say anything. Like, look, I get the whole thing of that's my son, that's my son. But the reality of the situation is Stephen A. really didn't say anything that bad about Bronny. He really didn't. All he basically said is LeBron James is wrong for forcing him into the NBA, which is true because he was. The man didn't even start at USC. So how does he just get pushed into the NBA? And he also said he's not ready for it, which is true. He's not. You know, a lot of people in the league agree with that, right? And he's just like he should have let Bronny take his time, which is true. He should have. And he should have protected Bronny from the league, which one of my first videos I put up on this channel, guys, echoed the same sentiments that Stephen A. Smith was saying. I was saying I don't think it was a good thing as a parent for LeBron to put Bronny in the NBA because there's a difference between I own like an accounting firm and I decide to make my son the CEO of the accounting firm, but he doesn't have to do any actual accounting, so no one will ever know that he sucks. Or I own Walmart, right? Like I'm the Buffords or whoever the company who owns Walmart. I can't remember the family name, but whatever. And I decided to make my kids the CEOs of Walmart. They never have to work in Walmart, so no one would know if they suck. The problem with moving your son into an industry like the NBA is he has to play. And once he plays, everyone realizes that he's not good. And once everyone realizes that he's not good because he's your son and you're the most popular player on the planet, everyone's going to naturally have an opinion and they're going to talk about him not being good. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can run up on Stephen A. Smith, who didn't even really say anything that bad, but you're not going to be able to run up on the Instagram trolls or the Facebook trolls or the YouTube trolls. So you're not going to be able to protect them from this. And the best thing you could have done to protect him from this is keep him in college so his game can develop so he wouldn't go into the NBA making a fool of himself. But that's neither here nor there. Even though I don't think LeBron was really justified in his reason for running up on Stephen A. Smith, I still don't have a problem with him doing it because Stephen A. Smith needed to be run up on. A lot of these people in sports media need to be run up on. And Stephen A. said in his show, he's like, well, Draymond Green's not talking to me anymore. And I guess that's because of what I said about Bronny. Well, first of all, Draymond Green's another one who needs to be ran up on. Not only is Draymond Green the NBA's biggest crash out, he runs around chokeholding people and kicking people in the nuts and doing all types of stuff all the time, right? But Draymond Green also lied on Karl Anthony Towns. Draymond Green and Chris Broussard, who's another reporter who needs to be run up on. See, this is something that you can get run up on for. Let me break this down to you guys. So the Knicks played the Warriors a couple of days ago. Cat didn't play. Now, before anything came out about why Cat didn't play, Draymond decides to put out there, and Jimmy Butler, who's a cornball too, they decided to put out there that the reason Cat didn't play is because he didn't want to see Jimmy Butler. Now, this is stupid for two reasons. Number one, the last time Cat played against Jimmy Butler was this season when Jimmy Butler was in Miami. And Cat had like 44 points and like 20 rebounds and the Knicks won the game. So why would he be afraid of Jimmy Butler? Jimmy Butler's a fake tough guy. He's never done anything to anyone. He's not a certified crash out like Draymond Green. He's not a certified crash out like Chris Childs when he two-piece Kobe Bryant. He's not a certified crash out like Ron Artest. Why would anyone be afraid of Jimmy Butler? But I digress. Either way, they decided to put that story out there, which was corny and which is personal. Now, these are the type of things that I said sports media is going to start getting beat up for because that was personal. Then Chris Broussard decides to run with it, not knowing what he's talking about. And it comes out from Jordan Woods that the reason Cat wasn't at that game was because someone in one of their families is dealing with cancer. See, now that's something. If Karl Anthony Towns decided to rock Chris Broussard in his jaw, he would be justified for that. If he decided to rock Draymond Green and or Jimmy Butler, he would be justified in that because y'all personally attacked him with the wrong information on top of that. That's a certified crash out reason. All right. Now, I know Karl Anthony Towns is super sweet, so he's not going to do that, and even if he wasn't super sweet, LeBron James, who wanted to be a tough guy with Stephen A., is scared of Draymond Green too. Draymond Green called that man LeBron James a B, not once, but twice, right to his face, and LeBron did nothing. Emi Udoka also called LeBron a B to his face, and LeBron did nothing. right? And Isaiah Stewart was going to crash on LeBron, and LeBron did nothing, right? So if LeBron is not going to step to Draymond, I damn sure don't believe that, Karl Anthony Towns is going to do it. I guess now all of a sudden Draymond is like Bron's best friend or something, or at least he wants to be Bron's best friend or something. I don't know. Draymond has CT or something. He's a crash out. Who knows what he's thinking? But either way, that's just yet another example of something that someone could get ran up on for. Because why are you saying that I'm scared of somebody? First of all, it's bad enough to imply that one man is scared of another man, but especially when I have a family member who's dealing with cancer. I'm trying to be supportive, and you out here saying I'm scared of somebody. This is what I'm talking about when I say these reporters talk too much. Like, remember Skip Bayless when he used to call Chris Bosh Spice? And he used to call LeBron LeBrick. He came there with a brick and a LeBron jersey on and stuff. And like all these personal attacks. You call the boy by Spice, you basically call him spicy, which is basically calling him zesty, which is basically calling him homo. And Chris Bosh was professional enough to come on the show and have a conversation with you. But if Chris Bosh would have smacked Skip Bayless up, I wouldn't have been mad. Like, how could I be mad? You're implying that the man's homo. You calling him by Spice. And it's like, this doesn't have anything to do with sports. And it's just like, I want to wrap up the video with this. Like, when I was growing up, and it's crazy to say that because I'm only 34, I'm not even that old. But when I was growing up, sports talk was about sports, right? So it's like, for example, I'm just using this as an example. NFL Sunday, if you were an AFC fan, you would watch NFL on CBS. If you were an NFC fan, you watched NFL on Fox, right? Everything was about football. What teams' records were, who got moved where, who's tracking to break a record, who needs to do what to make the playoffs. Nothing personal, all right? Nobody was talking about anyone's girlfriend or anyone being scared of anybody or anyone catching an STD or having a drinking problem or any of these other TMZ, gossip blog, shade room crap that they do now. None of this was going on. And if you were a real football fan like me, you jump between both channels because you just love football, right? Then you would watch the games, right? Then they would have the recap show. The big recap show, the one that I loved watching, was NFL Primetime. We had Chris Berman and you had Randy Moss and them eventually came in there, and they had high energy. They had the classic NFL films, themes, and they would just recap all of the games. And that's how sports talk was back in the day, right? Same thing with the NBA, same thing with the NHL, same thing with MLB. That's what sports talk was. You talked about the games before they happened and their importance and who was tracking to do what. You recapped the games after they were over, and that was it, right? All this debate and TMZ and gossip blog style shit that they got going on now didn't used to be there. And, forget my language with the SIHIT thing. But I'm just saying, none of that stuff used to be there, right? It was just pure sports talk. And now, again, because a lot of these sports personalities have made themselves celebrities and they're trying to become bigger than the game, everybody has to break the bigger story. Everybody has to say the more controversial thing. And LeBron was right in his sense of why would anyone want to be the face of the NBA when all you're going to do is talk crap about him? Like when you were coming up back in the day and you were the face of the league, you were protected, right? They hid the fact, for example, that Brett Favre was addicted to painkillers. Because John Madden loved him and he was one of the faces of the league, so they hid that. Right? Jordan had a huge gambling problem. Possibly could have got his father killed. Right? Possibility that might be why. Because he had this huge gambling problem. They hid that type of stuff. They didn't talk about that type of stuff very much on sports. Even when they bring up Jordan now, it rarely comes up. They just talk about him like, oh, his heir, his greatness, the greatest player of all time. They don't bring that type of stuff up. You know what I mean? Like, they used to protect players back in the day if they could. Now, they're looking and they dig for dirt on every single player. They look for something, and then when they find it, they just dig and scratch and scratch and scratch and pull and make entire segments about whatever issue it is that this player has. That's what they do. Like in the 90s, for example, something like Aaron Rodgers not getting the clot shot, they wouldn't even talked about that. They would have tried to protect Aaron Rodgers from that, just like they tried to protect MJ from the gambling thing, and they tried to protect Brett Favre from being stuck on painkillers. Nowadays, they make a 20-minute segment about Aaron Rodgers not getting the clot shot. Because they want to find something to pick at you about. And it's almost always something personal. So, look, I predict this is going to happen a lot more, man. I think one of these days someone's going to actually get pieced up. I think we're getting dangerously close to that time where someone's going to get pieced up. So, in summation, do I agree with the reason LeBron pulled up on Stephen A. Smith? No, not really. I don't think it was that serious. But at the end of the day, I think someone needed to. I think this should happen more often because the sports talk needs to stay sports talk and it needs to stay focused on sports. and not go all outside of that like it has been doing recently. Either way, y'all, that's my thoughts on that. I am Alex, and I am out. Peace.